Hey there, fellow entrepreneurs. I'm Sue, and you've just stepped into Entrepreneurs Gone Wild. Every week, I'll introduce you to a friend of mine, a remarkable entrepreneur who's not just changing the world, but also harnessing a secret weapon, time outdoors. Together, we'll dive into their journey, unpack invaluable business advice, and discover why embracing the wild is not just good for the soul, but also a goldmine for inspiration and innovation. Ready to uncover the secret that's boosting bottom lines and fueling joy? Hit subscribe and join us in the wild. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be really, really fun. I'm really excited to introduce Joel Salomon. He's a financial expert who specializes in helping spiritual entrepreneurs and early stage investors. He focuses on addressing challenges with stock market investing and money mindset, guiding clients toward financial freedom. He's on a really cool mission. He's going to tell you about that too. But his expertise spans from one-on-one coaching to group programs, including a Money Miracles membership and online courses. Now, he has a couple books already. You're going to hear about the third, but drawing from the second book, Joel offers a live course twice a year, providing in-depth insights on achieving financial success. His approach combines practical investment strategies with mindset work, tailored for those with a burning desire for financial independence. Get ready to meet an advisor who's transforming the way spiritual entrepreneurs approach wealth and investing. He's got an amazing TED Talk. I'll tell you about that as well. But Joel, welcome to Entrepreneurs Gone Wild.
Thank you so much, Sue, for having me. I really am grateful, and it's an honor to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This is going to be so fun. I loved it from the moment I watched your TED Talk. I'm like, this is going to be a blast. So I'm going to calm down a little bit because I get really excited. But would you please just kind of walk us through who are you serving and what kinds of problems are you helping them solve?
So I am serving primarily spiritual entrepreneurs, and I'll define that as business people who are in businesses like yoga teachers, meditation teachers, Reiki masters, hypnotists, mindset coaches, shaman, psychics. These are all past or current clients that I've helped them either grow their business to the next level. I've had one of my clients tripled her monthly revenues while she was working with me. So I help spiritual entrepreneurs grow their business to the next level, or I help them invest their monies so that it works harder for them so they don't have to work hard for their money. So it's both. So to be clear, I'm not a financial advisor or financial planner. I don't take anyone's money and invest it for them. I just teach and coach. And my mission is to help at least 100,000 people become financially free. So I'd love for anyone who's watching, listening, for you to be one of them.
Yeah. Oh, that is so cool. And I love this because that's a niche that you don't normally think of, like yoga teacher, the normal path, I guess, or normal path is like, well, you're going to do that. It's a love project. It's not, you're never going to make money. You're never going to, and you've turned that completely upside down. Can you just share what you shared just a moment before, as far as the amount of money that people in your group together have manifested, like as a total, not yours, their money, how much they have manifested?
So in my Money Miracles membership that you mentioned, which started 3 years ago, we're up to $2,319,000 US that members have manifested. That's over $80,000 on average per person over the 3 years, almost $30,000 a year. And what's most amazing about that is pretty much each dollar that has come in, you wouldn't have predicted how. So I teach my clients, don't get bogged down in the cursed house. We just don't know how the money's going to flow. And so trying to predict it, the universe has an infinite number of ways that money, prosperity, and abundance will flow to you. And by the way, those dollars that I just mentioned exclude my one-on-one coaching clients. And that number is over $5 million US of money's manifested.
That's amazing. And I love what you said, because, we get so wrapped up, entrepreneurs, like, how? And it always shows up in some amazing way out of left field that we never saw coming. And you must be seeing this all the time.
All the time, so the largest amount was $322,000 for a Money Miracles membership member. And this is unusual, but they're all unusual. So what happened, he joined the end of August, and a few weeks later, he lives in Texas. He happened to be in New York. So we actually met in person, which is quite rare and quite enjoyable. And we met in person. So I give everybody a one-on-one coaching session who joins the membership. So he got his live, and we do a weekly question and answer period where they can ask me any question about any of the videos or anything to do with money mindset, manifestation techniques, investing, their business. And so he was quite religious about going each week. And 3 weeks in, he sends me an email that he had gotten a call from a lawyer, and then he got an email from the same lawyer asking him to confirm if he was the Frank that had worked at XYZ company 23 years ago. He said yes, and the lawyer said, we need to talk. He got on a call with the lawyer, and the lawyer said, we don't know if you know this, but the company has been acquired, and you had options that have now vested, and they're now worth $322,000.
Amazing. Couldn't have seen that coming.
Could not have ever. So again, it's just, don't get bogged down in the cursed house. He like, you can say, okay, that's a coincidence, but I don't believe in coincidences. I only believe in synchronicities. And this happens all day, every day, to every single member in my network, in my membership. So it's, if it was once, once is an incidence, twice is a coincidence, 3 times, maybe it's a pattern. But when you get to 4 and 5 and 10 and 20, then it's synchronicities.
Yes. Oh, that's amazing. That's got to be just like, you must be every morning when you wake up looking at like, okay, tell me people what happened, right?
and I have a private Facebook group, and members are posting almost every day. And it's so cool to say, oh, we had some snow today, and I don't know how, but somebody cleared my driveway and I didn't pay for it.
Yeah.
Now I normally pay $50, but somebody had the kindness at heart. So let's include that. We got $50 today.
Oh, yeah.
Money manifested. Or, another member told me posted in the private Facebook group. So I had gifted this person this free session months ago, and for whatever reason, they decided that they got so much benefit out of it that they decided it was worth $500. And I guess in this season of giving in December, they sent me a check for $500. So I'm like, okay, let's add it in. And so it just keeps on flowing like that. Somebody will say, oh, I don't know how this happened, but I got my Uber rides paid for. 3 Uber rides paid for this week. Just stuff like that. IRS tax refunds out of the blue that you never expect, thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
I had this one woman, she decided she was going to sell her house, and she got it appraised. Some brokers came through, and she had a tenant. It was not her house. She was renting it out. It was a investment real estate property. So she went to her tenant and said, look, we're giving you 90 days. We're selling the property. And the tenant said, well, how much are you selling it for? And the woman who was in my membership said, are you interested? And she said, well, yeah, at the right price. So the owner in my membership said, make an offer. So the tenant made an offer $100,000 higher than the appraisals that she had gotten officially. So we included $100,000 of found money. The tenant bought the house that she was renting.
That is incredible. It's like I guess the more people are just aware and seeing it's got to be happening more. Once you
So,
have this happen
yes.
once, you're like, your whole perspective changes, I would think.
And if you're seeing other people having it who are just no different than you,
Mm.
then it also just creates that energy of, well, they're no different than me. So if they're doing it, I can do it. By the way, the other thing we do in the membership, here's a trick for anyone watching. Get a notebook. Get a notebook, and on the top and the front page, the cover, right on the top, money manifestations. The reason why you're doing that is you're telling the universe, I'm going to have a full book, an 80
Yes,
to 120 page book of money
college ruled.
manifestations coming in, right? College rule, right? And you're going to write it down, you're going to fill it up. You're telling the universe, I'm preparing, I'm paving the way for abundance.
I'm doing that today. That is so cool. How fun, too. And to be able to look at that, and then your kids get to see it when you're gone and go, it could impact them too. Wow. All right. Now, how did you get to where you are? Like, what was your entrepreneurial journey?
Great question. So, my dream back in 1993 was to be a hedge fund manager or to be a money manager, manage other people's money. And I got a lot of doubts. I was working at an insurance company coding, and I had a lot of doubts. Everyone I talked to said, Joel, you're a behind the scenes guy, you're doing the numbers. And then finally I found one guy who showed me his path, and I took it. And because of the doubts I believe today, it took me 15 years to get there. But I achieved that goal in 2008, not the best year in the stock market, by the way.
Exactly.
But the market was down 40%. Financial stocks, the only ones I was invested in, were down 57%. We did manage to make a little bit of money that year. The next year was better. And I actually might still be at that firm, but a law was passed that banks can't own hedge funds. And so we were all laid off. That actually gave me the kick in the butt to start my own fund, and which was really my true dream. So I started my own fund, and I was doing quite well. We were outperforming the hedge fund index. My investors were making money, but I really wanted to get to that next level. And in December 2015, I went to a personal development course, and two things happened there that completely changed my life. First was there was a guest speaker speaking for 1 hour. And he was speaking about stocks and stock options. And when he spoke about options in particular, he made it sound easy. He said, you don't need much time, you don't need much money. This is how the rich people get rich, and options are essentially risk-free. And I was sick to my stomach. I had people tapping me on the shoulder, whispering, Joel, does this make sense? Are options really risk-free? So after he was done, we went out of the auditorium. I told him, please don't do this. First of all, he doesn't know any of you individually, but most importantly, number two, he doesn't know your belief that you could become rich using stock options. Now, the second thing that happened at that course was we were given a wooden board 2 inches thick, and we were told we're going to break it with our bare hand. Have you done it, Sue?
I have done that. It's so cool.
But there was a lot of fear in the room. We actually literally had to sign a permission slip listing next of kin. No, just kidding.
Oh, yeah.
But there was
close,
a lot of
though. A lot of waivers, I'm sure.
A lot of waivers. So on one side of the board, we had to write our biggest obstacle. And then on the other side, our ultimate goal, which stumped me for a while. And then it hit me. Make everyone in this room financially free. Make everyone in this room financially free. And I broke the board like everyone else did in the room that day. I went home that night and I couldn't sleep. First, the guy was in my head, and I realized if I could ever get up the courage to speak on a stage, I could be authentic, not mislead people, and be of service. And then the second thing going on in my head at 3:34 in the morning was that wooden board staring back at me, make everyone in this room financially free. And it hit me at 4:30, and I jumped out of bed. I quickly got dressed. I was at my office in Midtown Manhattan before the sun rose, and I sent an email to my investors telling them I'm giving them the money back. I'm shutting down my fund. I figured out my true purpose in life.
That was a big move. How did that feel?
Big move.
Were you just like totally like, I'm totally doing this? Or was there like,
No, there was no doubt. There were doubts in the days and weeks ahead, but that moment, that day, there was no doubt. And it was funny. My CFO, who was on vacation, it was the end of December of 2015, and my CFO was on vacation. And when she came back, I called her into a conference room, and she thought she was getting a raise and more equity, and I was telling her we're shutting down. And so it was a big surprise for everyone on the team.
Yeah.
And I knew I'd made the right decision. I was done. My
Yeah.
mind had shifted to, okay, I'm supposed to be helping other people, not help the rich get richer, or large institutional companies make more money, but help the proverbial person on the street to change their mindset and know that they have the power within them to change their life.
That's incredible. Wow. I mean, when and then it's like, you can't, your feet go. Like, you can't just sit there anymore.
Yes.
That's amazing. Oh man. All right. So then what happened? How did you get where you are now with this? It just started. How did you find people to serve and to build this?
Great question. Just, ground up, typical reaching out to my network and saying, well, there were a few things I did. I decided I already had a book written, because I would write monthly investor letters to my investors, and they would be 10 pages. So I did that for 3 years. I said, I have a 360-page book. So I put it all together, and I reached out to friends and family who gave me consensus. This is absolute crap. Please don't send it to anyone else.
No, they said
No
that.
one is going to read this. And that was my mom.
Oh no.
No, just kidding. But that was the consensus. So, and I reached out to a woman who was a best-selling author, who gave me some really great advice. So what I had done was I'd written a little snippet in front of each monthly investor letter about what was going on in my life during that month, a little bit talking about my life, my kids, and so maybe it was a paragraph to a page in front of each investor letter. And she said, those are good. Keep those. Put the investor letters in the appendix, or take it completely out of the book. And I was like, but that's the book. So she said, look, just sit with this for a few weeks. Come back to it. I did, and I was like, she's right. I put it in the appendix. I only had a 10,000, books have to be 40 to 60,000 words. I had a 10,000 word book. I had to write again. So I spent the summer of 2017 doing that, rewriting, expanding on all those stories that were going on in my life while managing money, ups and downs. And that became Mindful Money Management, my first book. And so I figured I'd write a book, I'd start coaching people ad hoc. I created a meetup group in 2016 in the same office where I was managing my hedge fund and slowly shutting it down. And I set up meetup group, and I said, let's go around, and how can I help you? What are your money blocks? What's your financial freedom number? Let me show you how it's calculated. So it was a lot of interaction, a group coaching for free. And I got a lot of great experience, got a lot of feedback and testimonials, and that's kind of how I started. And I also learned what not to do.
Oh yeah.
and what I teach my spiritual entrepreneurs now is, don't trade time for money. Because that's what I was doing. And if you trade time for money, you're limiting your business.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to work 60, 70, 80 hours a week anymore. So if you want to work 30 to 40, then you can only, and if you're taking notes on your calls, you can only have 15 to 20 clients a week. And that might be great, but that can only create maybe a $250,000 business. And that could be a great business for some people, but why do you want to limit it to that? Why not create, to me, that's an entrepreneur. If you want to create a business, then you need leverage. And so
Yeah.
one of the things I learned is not to trade time for money, to create leverage in your business, create online courses where you've done, the whole background and you put it out there and people can buy it, and you put in the time upfront investment.
Yes.
And the same thing with my membership. I spent the summer of 2021, like 3 months, recording and re-recording videos, putting together exercises, putting the whole package together. And now it's there, and I coach people every week. Now I post in my private Facebook group. We have a reward system. We have accountability partners. We have a whole infrastructure, but it's leveraged.
Yes.
So I can have 1,000 people or 5,000 people in my membership, and maybe I'd add a call or two a week, but I don't need to have, 5 times, 10 times, 20 times, just because that's the number of more people in the membership.
Oh, that's so great. That whole concept of building an asset, that you can resell, because it came from your creativity, your experience, your passion. That is the most wonderful thing. I think a lot of people don't know that that's even possible.
Absolutely possible. So rule number 1 in the 9 money rules millionaires use, my second book, is when you believe. So you have to believe it's possible. You have to start out with what's the dream? Dream big and know that it is possible. And I ask my clients to write down the level of belief from 1 to 10 in each investment they're thinking about investing in each investment they currently own, in their business, in their programs. Because if you don't believe it, it's not happening.
Yeah.
If you have massive doubt, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 is absolute faith and 1 is massive doubt. If you're a 1, it's just not happening. You can do all the processes, all the strategies. That's why I teach mindset and strategy. Because you can have the best strategy in the world, but if your mindset is, I don't know how this is going to work, it's probably not going to work. Those words and phrases are going through your mind, and then you're actually saying them out loud. How's this going to work? How's this going to work? I don't know. This is probably not going to work. Then the process can be, and the strategy can be the best ever. But if you're doubting it, it's not going to work. And the same thing, you could have the best mindset in the world, but you have no strategy, you have no process, it's not going to work either.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And you see people like that too. They're like, I'm just going to sit here and manifest it. And they have no strategy whatsoever. I'm like, how is that going to work?
So that is a misconception I think a lot of people got from the book, The Secret, the movie, The Secret.
I think that's it.
I'll just sit at home and I'll think. But I will tell you, I don't know any billionaires who just sit at home and meditate and visualize all day. They get out into the world and they take action. And I will tell you, they're taking inspired action.
Yes.
They may meditate and visualize, which I do, both, but I also get out into the world and I'm taking inspired action every day, because after I do my meditation or visualization, I'm inspired to do certain things.
Yeah.
And you don't just sit at home on the couch. I don't know anyone who's in the fetal position, on your bed all day long. The universe can't reach you if you're not taking at least some baby steps. So take some baby steps in the direction of your dreams. I will say, if you take a baby step, the universe takes 10,000 for you. I also say, like, the universe has like 100-mile-an-hour wind behind you, pushing you forward. So just take a few steps.
Yeah.
You can't be reached if you're not taking action.
Yeah. And I think too, it's like what I've come to love about entrepreneurs is they have a why, right? But it's their who that really gets them going. That's how you were able to break through that board. You saw those people that you want, you're like, them, that's who I'm helping. And bam, there was nothing holding you back,
Yeah.
That is so cool. Man. All right. So, and I know, all right, I wanted to talk about, like, you run, you jog, you've been jogging for years now, and you had something amazing that happened when you were out jogging.
Well, I've had a lot of things that have happened out jogging, and I know this is Entrepreneurs Gone Wild. So a lot of things have happened to me in nature while I've been jogging. I jog in a park that's a multi-acre park, and it's probably 30 minutes of my 45-minute jog is in this park. And there's animals. Now, I'm jogging mostly in New York, so it's not, you know, elephants and lions and tigers and bears. It's squirrels and rabbits and maybe the odd coyote
Oh,
and so on. But it is more natural than jogging on the streets of the neighborhood. So what happened was I had been coaching a client to help him. This was a rare coaching uh, process that I was doing for him. I was working on his mindset to help him find a new job. And so we were working on getting him more into a more positive mindset, dreaming the dream. What dream job do you really want? Can you actually achieve it? And so on. So we were doing a lot of journaling, a lot of affirmations. And we got to a point where we were talking about cash flow. And I said to him, we should really get your wife on the next call because, you're a unit and you're spending, she's spending, you're saving, she's spending, and you're a unit and you should discuss, we should get her on the call to discuss her points of view on where the cash is going. And his immediate response was, Joel, she doesn't get involved in these kinds of things. No, it's, I'll handle it the next call. So I was jogging the next morning thinking, man, this can't be good. Man, this can't be good. And I remember coming around this corner and it hit me that this has got to be a common problem in couples where they're not communicating well. There's not a lot of open communication about money. And I said to myself, you know what? I need to write a book on this. And so while I was jogging, that book, Infinite Love and Money, which I co-wrote with Molly Singh, and the idea was to end divorce caused by money. And so, yeah, that book came out of that job.
that is so amazing. I love it when I have guests who can point at something and go, this happened because I was out in nature. That is so cool. Oh my gosh. That's well, got to get that book too then.
And
Is
I
that
will
one out
tell
yet?
you, yeah, it's out. So that came out in 2021. Actually,
Okay.
I'm working on my fourth book, Purpose, The Path to Purpose and Prosperity with a Purpose Coach, which will be out in 2025. And I will tell you though, when it comes to nature and it comes to my jogging, I've had so many epiphanies when I've been jogging, signs, epiphanies, trips that have come to me while I was it's almost like, people say, oh, I'm in the shower and this comes to me. For me, it's jogging
Yeah.
out in nature, early in the morning, the sun's rising. Yeah,
That's so great. I call it kinetic meditation.
yes.
That is so cool. All right. So where are you in your business now? Like what's the growing edge for you?
Yeah, thank you for the question, Sue. So for me, I really have this dream where I'd love that membership, the Money Miracles membership, to have at least 1,000 people in it. Because I know that I've created these videos, I've created these processes, these strategies, and the mindset, and they have my support every week where they can move to financial freedom relatively quickly. And it's both strategy and mindset. And what's great, I think members have told me the greatest part of the membership is the community aspect. So the community aspect, we have a private Facebook group. People are posting their surprise money manifestations. The community aspect of the group calls. We also I assign them accountability partners. So they're supposed to meet with their accountability partner once a week, at least 10 minutes, just to check in. How are the videos going? You're doing the exercises. And then the calls, the weekly calls where I answer any question on any topic related to money mindset, manifestation techniques, prosperity and abundance. So they're getting the support, and we also do an abundance meditation, and we do the oath of manifestation every week. in addition to answering questions. So it's a great community, and they really love the support they're getting from those calls.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and that would put you well on track for, having the 100,000 people that you want to
Yes,
serve. That is
absolutely.
so cool. I love that. Yeah. If you do that, 10 times over, it's done. Like,
Absolutely. And I know the books are helping as well. I can't track that. So I don't know if somebody reads it and then becomes financially free. They don't come back to me and say, oh, hey, your book helped me become
yeah.
financially free. I do know the one-on-one coaching clients who have become financially free. I do know the members who become financially free, but yeah, we're not near the 100,000 number yet.
Oh, yeah. And that's
Yes.
the thing too. Like, yeah, yet, exactly. Yet. That's the thing for authors. I like, oh, it's so wonderful. You've got Amazon, this huge distribution channel, anybody anywhere in the world can buy this and it's great, but you don't know them. And it's like, oh, I'm always looking at how can we I think there are some ways they've been percolating in my brain that authors can end up hearing from those people and getting them on their email list so they can serve them a little bit more. And like just to be able to, have that sense of that connection and then hearing from them. And because you might already be there, you don't even know, you might have already hit your goal.
Right, exactly. I do in my books, I have told people that if they read a book of mine, in the book there are freebies and they just have to reach out to me. But I think a lot of people are shy. I read a book a couple of years ago during the pandemic, and the guy was like the chief financial officer of a major institution, corporation, and he retired. And in the book, he wrote at the end, you I would love for you to call me or write me. And he email address and phone. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna call.
Did you?
I called and he picked up the phone. I was like, now he's retired, but he was CFO. I would think he's still a pretty busy guy. He gave me 10 minutes of his time.
Wow.
So now I haven't put my phone number in my books, but I do have my email address in each of my books, and people can reach out with a question, or like people have now. Mindful money management is now almost 7 years old. It came out in January of 2018, and I literally had somebody this year say to me, I saw in Mindful Money Management that you give away this book. Are you still doing that? I said, yeah, that's forever. So they said, I want it. It wasn't my book, but it was one I had highly recommended. And so I sent it to them.
Wow.
So there are
That is so
freebies
cool.
in my
Yeah.
books that people can get if they just reach out to me.
Oh, that's so great. That is so cool. Every author ought to do that. I think people get scared. They're like, well, what kind of crazy is going to find me? Or, like weird stuff, right? But
We just think that we put people on pedestals and we're
yeah,
all the same.
yeah,
We're all flesh and bones and blood, and we all are of one consciousness, I say. So, reach out. It's
yeah,
fine. You're no lesser or greater than anyone else.
exactly. Oh, I love that. That is such a great mindset, man. This is so cool. All right. Where can people find out more about you?
So salomore.com is my company name. My company name is named after my daughters, Lauren and Morgan. So it's
Oh,
SALAUR for Lauren, MOR for Morgan.com. And there's actually a ton of freebies on my website too. So I have free affirmations. I have free audio files. I have free book recommendations, quotes, travel. I have my vision board on my website as well, places I've already been and places I want to get to. There's a lot of freebies on there, so check them out. Under the drop down on the programs, if you go into the investing or savings or manifesting program, there's different freebies in there. Even I think I have the budget game, which is in the 9 Money Rules Millionaires Use, on there as well.
nice. Wow, that's so great. Joel, I'm so glad that you're here. I can't wait for this to go live. I want people to hear all about it and to watch your TED Talk. I'll put a link to that as well because it's
Thank you.
really, really cool. So thank you.
So let me just add one final thing. If anybody wants a free 30-minute prosperity coaching call, again, you're no lesser or greater than anyone else. Reach out. I give everybody in the world 30 minutes free. And
Nice.
you can find that on the website for homepage.
That is beautiful. Thank you so much. I appreciate
Sure.
that.